Guys, before I bring up our fourth comedian of the night, I have to mention something else. No, I actually did mention something else. Okay, cool. Yeah, speaking of cheese and diarrhea, I also had diarrhea once so bad that I had to ring the doorbell at my neighbor's house. And it wasn't to ask for toilet paper. I was like, can I please borrow your wife's dress because I am destroyed. That joke bombed. Okay, cool. Please put your hands together for our fourth comedian of the night. Give him a very, very warm welcome all the way from Amsterdam, Socrates!
Hey everybody, how are y'all tonight? Better than diarrhea? You've all been there. So my name is Socrates. I came up from Amsterdam. And as a little personal tip, never take a long train ride with an introverted friend. He insisted on sitting in the quiet car. 3 hours. I'm like, it's not easy to have a conversation, is all I'm saying. I had time on the train to think about that. This is my first time back to Groningen in a long time. You guys are way the hell out here. You probably know that. And so it's weird to get back out of the house again, you know. And I'm trying to get used to people, you know what I'm saying? Life in general, you know. But it's weird to see faces, you know. I didn't do Zoom, so I'm not used to this particular view, but it's nice to see a lot of people again. So I'm glad you're all out here. And no? Okay. But well, let's see. I've got multiple things I was thinking about. Who's dating? I know you two were dating, apparently. You know, anybody else dating? I don't want to pick on you two because one of you is German, and you know, I've learned my lesson. I'm Greek. Anybody else dating? Nobody? Okay. A lot of masturbators. Cool. I'm on that team. I'm down with it. You know, I've been through the arc of the relationship. Do you know about the arc of the relationship? Anybody in a relationship longer than like 2 years? Anybody? Nobody? A couple people? So you two again? A different extra people, okay. Because I don't have any like lesbian relationship research. I've only researched, you know, unsuccessful, you know, emotionally draining, financially painful, and ultimately horrifically failing relationships. And that's the arc. I learned, this is my experience anyway, there's an arc to a relationship, you know, and in that early part, that 6 weeks or 6 months part, that's that early, fat, rich, super wonderful part of the arc. That's that meaty, sexy part, you know, where one of you wants to get pregnant, needs the other one's help. You can suggest things like, you know, hey, what do you want to do? It's all it takes, you know what I mean? That's that fat one. It's the part of the relationship that guys love for variously obvious reasons. I think that, you know, I'd like to think that the women liked it too, but somehow, eventually that changes. Now, I have a theory that it has to do with not getting her pregnant. You know, her body kind of gets upset. It's been 6 months, 2 years, lots of chance to get her pregnant. What the hell's going on? You say birth control, condoms. Body has no idea what you're talking about. And eventually kind of rejects the guy. Like, she becomes like, you know, less and less into him, you know? And I don't know if it happens if you get her pregnant, because I never did that, you know? It's like lesbian research. I didn't do pregnancy research, you know? I tried, you know? But again, there was birth control involved, so... But if you make it past that part, you know, who's like over 40 in here? This is like a really young group of people. I'm 56, and did I fart? And it's like, I've smoked weed for like 36 years, which is like longer than most of you have been alive, you know, just to context it there, you know. So later in your arc, if you're lucky enough to make it there, you will find another version of the taper that, you know, doesn't necessarily come with lack of interest. It's getting old and sex injuries. Yeah, it happens eventually. You know, again, you know, if you're the one that's doing most of the work, you know, and I'm not shaming anybody. But, you know, more men tend to sweat during sex, and there's a reason. It's a lot of work. It can be. And well, I fucked my hip out. Yeah, it can be a knee, it could be a back. It's part of becoming 30 to 35. So if you haven't experienced this yet, when it happens, think of me. Yell, Socrates! It won't help the situation, you know. And yeah, that's something to look forward to later in your life. But it's true. It's true. Now, I've been living here in the Netherlands for a while. Do you all speak Dutch at all? Is this like a non-Dutch crowd? Do you any Dutch at all?
No way.
Some Dutch? You know, I've been trying to help some people understand like little bits of Dutch, like the idea of Dutch. Like one thing I've found that's odd is like when you go to ask a question, you know, it's a vraag, which of course is a great sounding word because it's got in it. All of good Dutch words have at least one. Some have two. Lots of them have two. Anyway, so if you ask a vraag, it's not enough. You want to be nice. You want to ask a little question, so you ask a vraagje, which is little because you have the diminutive because the Dutch love diminutives because they're the tallest people in the fucking world. Anyway, that's not enough though. A vraagje is not enough. You want to ask an effe vraagje. It's a little tiny question. You know, I mean, what the fuck, you know? And when they say they're going to help you, they'll take a look for you, which is a kijk. They don't kijk. No, they kijk you. But they don't stop there either. No, it's even kijk you. Little tiny question, little tiny look. Just look at this stupid thing. I don't know. I find the Dutch language strange, all I'm saying, you know? Just me? Just me? Okay, I don't know. I'm trying to learn it. Like this evening, you know, like the Dutch have words like in Germans, my favorite German word, the only famous German word that everybody knows, of course, is I can't pronounce it, Schadenfreude, you know, this wonderful word that means taking pleasure at the pain of others, you know. And if you had that feeling a lot, you might have enjoyed some of tonight. Not all of tonight, not the comedians, the train ride's all I'm talking about. Come on, give me a break. And like, so the Germans needed that word because everybody was trying to explain how much they were having a great time watching that crippled guy fall down the stairs or whatever it is that turns them on. I don't have it for the most part. You know, like in America, we had to come up with a word to describe people, which was asshole. Because, you know, you could explain what this guy was like, and why, like, just give me one word, you know. And as far as I know, in Saudi Arabia, they do not have a word for avalanche. Yeah, I've always wondered if that would work or not, and apparently that one doesn't even come close. Because, you know, it's a hot country. Why would they have avalanche word, you know? Right? I mean, I assume they use the word avalanche. I've thought this thought in my head before, and I thought, you know what? What would people think about that thought? They're not into it. No, I think I'll keep that thought to myself. So anyway, as far as dating goes, the other one I liked was, you know about, I'm going back. You know about Coco the gorilla? This came up the other day, I thought I mentioned it again. You know about Coco the gorilla? She's now dead, so it's a really uplifting story. She used to speak sign language prior to her death. Now she just doesn't do shit. But they wanted to breed Coco with another gorilla and see if they would teach the baby sign language. So they tried to hook her up with a sign language speaking gorilla. And first they raised one with her and didn't realize that by raising the gorilla with her, she'd think it was her brother, and gorillas don't fuck their brothers. So that was a few $1 million wasted. Years of research. He was cool, by the way. There's a thing about him you can find out about that gorilla. Anyway, so they tried again. And they went with Gorilla Facebook because they figured, well, they could ask Coco if she speaks. She'll tell them which one they likes. And she's looking through a bunch of these gorilla photos, hate every damn one of them, and then she sees that perfect gorilla that she loves. Because let's face it, Coco was a bitch. But anyway, she falls in love with this freaking gorilla, and she's like, this is the gorilla I want. And they're like, no problem. And they bring the gorilla over to her. But unfortunately, he's just a gorilla. He doesn't know he's on a blind date with Coco, the sign language gorilla who loves him. And she goes, you know, crazy for this because she's head over paws in love with the guy. And she chases him around, and they never mate. It doesn't work whatsoever. And in the end, again, multiple millions wasted for nothing. And my point is this. Love is hard. You know, whether you're just a human being, a German, you know, one way or the other, it's not easy. You can have huge teams of scientists trying to help you get laid. It didn't work. You know, billions of dollars. It's complete waste. Anyway, I'm just a single guy on the far side of the arc, so this is my experience as well. It didn't work for me either, and I didn't spend that much money on it. But how about religion? You guys are religious? This is a big, huge religious crowd. I'm not religious personally. I wasn't raised with it. I don't know anything about it. I learned it from cartoons because we have religious cartoons in the U.S. So that's I got most of the gist from that stuff. But I have a question. Maybe you can help me. See, I feel that religious people they don't have faith in God. I believe that atheists have much more faith in God than the religious people. And the main reason is, as I understand the gist of it, God made everything, God knows everything, and that God has a plan for everything. Right? Anybody else heard anything else different? That's what I was told. So my question is, why would you pray? I mean, yeah, little Jimmy fell off his bike, mangling his legs. But God made little Jimmy with a bad sense of balance, a sense of adventure, and brittle little bones, God knows all about Jimmy's horrific life choices, So God had a plan. Apparently for little Jimmy to fall down and mangling his leg for I don't know what reason, but other than say, hey, great job, God, I just don't understand why you would pray for these things. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just nagging God. He had a great plan. Go with it. Take the kid to the hospital. That's what I would have done. Anyway, God's plan was for me to come up here, really, really, really rock tonight. I mean, kicked its ass in a quiet Dutch kind of way. Anyway, that's where this whole thing ends. Because I'm going to now say, thank you very much. My name was Socrates. I'll see you next time.
Mr. Socrates, all the way from Amsterdam. One more round of applause for Socrates.